In a flat up in Chicago with a keyboard and some tea lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius, he's got a plugin for that.
Okay.
Tricks and tricks from his marketing.
Hey everybody, it's Spence. It's Friday. I think we got a good crowd today. We got a good crowd already lined up. I'm pretty close to on time. I had to have a quick nourishing bite and refill my water glass because today I'm going to talk about the escape from Elementor and Divi into the world of Kadence. So if you have, good morning, Devin. The inspiration for today's show. I was actually working with Devin yesterday, and he is on an Elementor site. There still are people, believe it or not, on the Elementor site. Guys, let me know, is the audio fine? Am I on the right mic? Because, you know, it's only been 9 years. I've been doing 19 years. Let's see, desktop microphone. I think I'm good. Just let me know if everything sounds good. I'm quite sure I'm on the correct camera. All right. So good morning. Good morning, John. Everybody piling in. So yesterday I was working with Devin. I have a variety of things that came from yesterday's conversation. First of all, he's a wonderful human being, and I appreciate having you, by the way, as a client now, Devin. But he came in with an open mind to what he wanted to achieve. And he already had a site that was built from good morning, Bernie, long time no see. Devin had a bunch of stuff that was already pre-built with Elementor. And this actually represents what many of you have been through in the past, but there's just a ton of people still out there. And as we move forward into the things I'm going to show you today, I want you to understand there's a system, there's a process. It doesn't mean that I am like the only guy in the world that's figured this out, the only person in the world. It just means that I figured out from my way what's the best way to get from where you are to where you want to be. And so this applies whether it's for yourself, if you are an agency, you know, if you wear the WordPress professional badges on your epaulette, or if you're just an implementer. Let's say you've got a legacy site, as I'll show you one of my clients. I run a few charity sites, and they just had a legacy site that I built in Divi. And I remember when I built it saying to myself and to everybody in public, I was the evil genius back then, one day I'm going to need to get out of this Divi hell because it provided all these shortcodes. So the basic premise is that if you've got any of these reasons, the things I'm going to show you today is a system that lets you move forward immediately into what's critical. Number one, getting rid of the extra theme in favor of the plugin for either Elementor or Divi. Number two, moving forward with migrating your content, like Devin actually said yesterday. He says, I might as well bite the bullet, right? Might as well bite the bullet and start moving content immediately. I'm going to show you tricks with your new friend, the AI pal. I'm also going to show you some updates as to what's been going on with the Minute Launch AI, because that's relevant to this as well, but not as big of a concern for today, because you can use the open free tools to do the same thing. And number three is that just getting a mindset that, like, where am I going with this? What is this all about? WordPress as a whole is one of many frameworks that exist in the world that, let's just be completely frank and candid, it has all of the benefits of the ownership and the control in that black box that I keep talking about, that you and I and everybody else who's our customers can put their stuff into. But truth be told, nobody but nobody in a very short time is going to be turning the knobs and the dials to make the box do what we want. The box is simply our metaphor, our mechanical thing that we for ourselves or for our clients can act like the razor blade handle. Jack, get me a razor blade. No, I'm kidding. My son is here. You have a handle. I don't shave today, but I shave with a good old fashioned straight, a safety razor. Not like a, you know, one of these deals, but one of those 1950s straight safety razors. I have the handle. You turn the little knob and the little, you know, the blades come out. They're like 5 cents a piece. Why? Number one, the convenience of being able to just pop in those blades versus, my God, the click-in cartridge with the 19 blades. Number two, the cost. Like, I could snap in any of those blades. They cost me like a nickel. Give me an amazing shave every time as a new blade. Those snap-in cartridges, it was like $40 for 10 of them. I'm like, what? And then I'm throwing out all the plastic. So metaphorically, we have the razor blade handle that can be white labeled to your brand. You can have your own razor blades. I can offer razor blades. Everybody gets a razor blade. WordPress no longer is going to need to have us talking to it. Sorry, is going to have us talking to it rather than having us turn the knobs and the dials. Okay. So today I'm going to do two parts just so you know where I'm going. Number one is I'm going to show you and talk about my system for how to get you out of Elementor and Divi hell into Kadence heaven. And by the way, I just want to say, it's not Kadence per se. It's just that since I use Kadence as the underlying theme and it's universal, that is part of my 4 weeks and counting unpacking my flight simulator gear, by the way, which I'll show you one day, the desk. I've got it mostly set up. I have 1 or 2 parts left. But behind it, that IKEA stuff, okay? That IKEA stuff, that thing I got when my kids were born, that's like 25 years old, that shenanigan. Same idea. If you've got a system where everything you have is one of the ingredients in the minute launch, you'll never be stranded. You'll never be stuck. And Devin, I think, can give me a high five, right, Devin? Yesterday, just knowing a couple little things about the nuances of how the foo events works, how launch flows work, how WooCommerce was the difference between him being frustrated and him having success. And I think he also had a lot of fun. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to share the screen. Let's see if this will let me, without too much fuss, share. I want to share this window. Let's see if I can pull it off. I have to remove an ad. I'm going to go into full screen mode. That's pretty good. No, I'll stick with this one. And let me move myself around a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. All right, what I'm going to do is let's start out with the basic premise, and that is many of you may or may not know Divi and Elementor. Let's go to my client site, for example. Divi and Elementor both have a theme and a plugin. Did you know that? Raise your hand if you knew that. I wish I could do a quiz here, but I don't think I have a quiz. I'm not going to bother. Just by saying yes or no, how many of, and oh, by the way, let me see if I can do that. How many of you say yes or no knew that there was a theme and a plugin for both Divi and Elementor? Just type into the comments. Let's see if this new feature shows in the bottom right here. So if we were to look at Divi plugin versus theme, nobody wants to type in, be my friend. There you go. Sharon says yes. Thanks, guys. Okay. So there's the Divi theme and the Divi builder. There's the Elementor plugin versus base theme. Now, Elementor does not have, Devin knew, cool. Elementor does not have a base theme. Some people use this, I forgot what it was called. There was like a really basic theme. I can't even remember what it was called anymore, that people used to use for Elementor. But in Devin's case, for example, he was just using 2025. Okay, so premise number one, and let's do some notes here, by the way. I'm going to go into this site that I'm using for another purpose today. I'm going to add a new page. I'm going to make some notes. Oh, hello theme. Thank you. Hello. Notes from today. Okay. Number one, theme versus plugin. And I'll zoom in a little bit on that so you can see. What we're going to do, number one, is change from using the theme of either Divi or hello to using Kadence. This is a big step. If we do this without much care, we're going to cause problems. So we want to do this cautiously, but I want to tell you why we're going to do it. This is the Nate Wasserman Camp Fund. This is a live site. There was a new thing that I was doing for every year. It's the 4th annual Campfire Invitational Golf Outing. I'm going to show you and tell you how the AI makes this really amazing and fun. And by the way, thank you. I'm very satisfied that the show comments on stage beta worked out pretty well. I wonder if I can move that around. I don't think I can move it around, so I'm just going to leave it because it's kind of getting in the way. Okay. To make this happen, the original site had Divi. You'll notice this looks like Divi. Anybody who's seen Divi knows when it is, because it has these very unusual aspects, like these kind of cool but weird and out-of-date dividers. It looks like a site that was built a couple years ago, and I'm very happy with it. It's just a functional site. To replace the theme meant I had to decide at what point do I switch, because if I switched prematurely, shit was going to go bad. Let me show you what I mean. If I go to the front here, to themes, if I go to the back, you'll see that I've got Divi, and I have an original child theme that I'd written, and I've got Kadence. If I switched back and forth between them and I did not have something to carry the load of the Divi output, the shit was going to break hard on that home page. Let me go back here and show you what I mean. So let's say, for example, I start out and I'm in the Divi theme. I'm going to let's just retrace my steps. I'm going to activate the Divi theme. Oh, and I'm going to break the site. Let's hopefully didn't break it horribly. Oh yes, sure, of course I did. Let's see if I can recuperate from this one in live time. Hold on one second. I stand by while this temporary adjustment happens. I think I've got this one on Cloudways. It's going to make this fun. I don't think there's ever been a live event that I've ever done where I haven't succeeded in crashing a site or something. But let's see if I can log into Cloudways in less than 25 minutes. Their interface for login was really slow before. Oh, it's surprisingly brisk today. So hold on one second. I'm doing something over here while you guys watch me work. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me see. Cloudways, unfortunately, does not have a tool that I can easily get into, like a file manager. But what I can do is I can restore it from this morning. Let me just restore it, and then I will not break it when I do the next thing. Let's see if this works. Okay, in the meantime, let's just talk out loud. Divi theme was carrying the load of that homepage. I needed to replace it with the Divi Builder plugin, because otherwise what was going to happen is I was going to end up with just a jumble of shortcodes, none of which were going to look very good. And that wouldn't work out for my purpose. But more importantly, it would leave me with like just a mess of a site in the meantime. So rule number one, when theme versus plugin, number two is add the plugin for Divi or Elementor first before you switch themes and break site. Why? Because that can manage the old legacy content. What I ended up doing is I ended up turning on the plugin for the Divi Builder. That allowed me to display the content on any page that previously was done by the theme, but I can now do it just with the builder. Now, there may be some nuances to the page. Like, for example, if you had in your theme a default color scheme or palette or anything else, you may have to recreate that. But at least it will carry the load of what the theme is doing via the plugin. And we can manage using one of the AI tools or otherwise to carry over the palette or migrate it or whatever. But the ultimate goal is, let's get here, number 3. We're trying quickly to get to Kadence. Okay, this says that it's back, so let's refresh. Oh, it's back. Congratulations. Okay. Let's show you in a non-destructive way, because I do not have any other way to save my ass on this one. What I did was on the home page, you can see here, front page Divi. The content of this is the Divi builder. It is currently being edited not with the Divi theme, but rather with the Divi builder plugin. I'm just going to say it today, because otherwise I'm going to crash the site again. And you can see here under appearance themes, I've got Kadence installed. Okay. Now, the same is true for Elementor. I could show you an Elementor site, like I could go to Devin's site. I don't want to, but like maybe if you want Devin, I could show some of the pages. It's the exact same thing, except the only thing we need to worry about with Elementor is not like switching from the theme to the plugin. We need to just worry about making the new header and footer. Because with Elementor or Divi, if I go and add a new page to any of these, it's simply going to allow me to choose whether I want to use the default Gutenberg block editor, i.e. Kadence, or if I want to use the underlying builder. So for example, here on this site, Nate Wasserman, I could use Divi builder, or I could make the default editor. So in this case, I don't have the theme installed anymore, but I'm able to show the legacy pages. Oh, Devin says, okay. All right. So for Elementor, I'll show Devin's site. But when I make new stuff, the header and footer, and notice the page layout tools are conveniently now Kadence. I could use the Divi builder if I wanted for the whole page, including making proxy header and footer and so forth. But what I could also do is just say, I don't care anymore. I'm moving on. So I'm going to use Gutenberg here, and I'm going to use Kadence for the layout. And, you know, this is a Kadence page. All Kadence. And I could, you know, turn on the header, whatever. I'll just show a preview of this so I don't mess up their site. Now, even though I've got the Divi builder and Divi running the front page or any other legacy pages, I've still got the ability to make an all Kadence thing. So check it out. Homepage, still Divi, but through the plugin. Other page, Kadence. Let me talk about this Campfire outing page. Let's talk about my new bestest buddies AI, your new bestest buddies. The world that we're moving fast into is no longer going to be you and I sitting there drudging away, making all the stuff by hand. We are going to have a list of ingredients, the minute launch ingredients. This is the stack of plugins that are curated by Uncle Spence, some of which will be replaced by native capabilities. It's the same stuff that you see inside of the WPLaunchify software bundle, if you want to list it out that way. These are currently the best-in-class plugins. There's about 100 of them that bring the functionality to the table, much of which I'll probably start to replace natively. Like, for example, Advanced Custom Fields Pro, I really have almost no use for anymore. Many of the Kadence add-ons, anything that's an intermediary tool is sort of like on the way out. So what I want you to understand is when it comes to, let's say, recreating the page or making the new content or doing something like this, the scenario was they were previously on Divi. I moved them over to Kadence because Kadence gives me a blank screen, a whiteboard, a magnetic whiteboard. Like you might see if you're shopping on Amazon, one of these doodads, okay? It's a blank thing that I know and can control, and I can give you full control over, and I can build helper functions so that we can take content that's generated dynamically, either from the outside world using one of the current free AI things, or from Canva, or from one of the tools that's going to be a razor blade on the handle. Here's the example. These fellas every year give me all of the updates of what they want to create. Every year it's a pain in the ass because they change all these nuances about the little details. This year I finally got smart. And I'm like, I am not going to sit there and drag around page blocks anymore. So what I actually did was I took my setup with the minute launch system, WooCommerce, Kadence, set the page to blank. Believe it or not, in the same site that previously had Divi. And let me go see if I can find this chat here. I think this is it. Right. So what I did was these fellas wrote me an email. And I said to my buddy, can you write me a plugin that will turn these items into products in WooCommerce automatically? These are simple one-time purchase products. Show that the two-lined item products is no longer available, sold out. I went on to further elaborate that I wanted it to go and get images from Unsplash and hot link to them so that it would also create the thumbnails. At first, I tried to have it generate a thumbnail, and I didn't like it. So I just said, go and get the thumbnails. Now, you can see where it says here, those thumbnails are not working out, or blah, blah, blah. I finally ended up getting a plugin. I'm going to publish this. This is a razor blade, but what I want you to understand is there's no need for anybody to have a very specific plugin like this. You can make one of these plugins yourself. I'm saying this kind of functionality is going to be a standard razor blade that works with this system. What it does, what it did is, I'll show you on the back end, is it allowed me to just take their list of what they wanted and automatically turn it into products instantly with everything set up. So you see here, I had this list. Now, the difference between this plugin and what the Minute Launch AI system does is the Minute Launch AI system is something that you're going to talk to and tell it, and it's going to be smart enough to know. So I have an example of two things I want to show you just while we're at it, because this is part of the conversation. Going forward in the future, if you have a website that has Elementor or Divi or old-fashioned stuff, you can make replacement content out of what was there before using the help of AI by just telling it the URL or talking to it, and it will respond. Here's one of my new experiments, which is a more optimized voice command system. I'm also going to show you the current Minute Launch system for doing things. But I want you to extrapolate from this that you can talk to your Jarvis and tell it what you need, or paste into it what you need, or give it a URL, because we're just not going to be doing this stuff by twerking all the knobs and going and creating 10 or 12 manual products anymore. Or like with Devin, and Devin, I would love your input here publicly. Tell us what it was like when I sort of pulled back the curtain on all that stuff, all the steps that we had to do to turn on this and do this and up this and this. And what I said to you at the time was like, I've spent the last 5 years doing this with thousands of people. I'm exhausted. I want to just have an interface where you tell it to do something and it knows exactly what's under the hood from IKEA and it does it, right? It was depressing, right? It was depressing, but it was happy ending, right? Because in the end, you got what you wanted, but like it took us an hour of futzing around for something that probably would take, as you'll see, 2 minutes. Okay. So number one, let me show you a live voice command. I hope this works with my microphone. This is a brand new experiment on just what I'm going to be ultimately doing is putting in an interface that allows complete voice communication. Right now, I have a proxy that's like a combination of voice and choices. Still very efficient. Watch this. I mean, let's see what this is. Create a blog post about making a blog post using AI. Okay. This is just essentially as fast as this, able to take that, process it, and create content. Okay. And we can view the post. I mean, it's just a post placeholder right now. But what's awesome is notice that's a post. Let's do the same thing. We say, create a WooCommerce product about making a product. Okay. The point is, this new interface is super fast and it's going to use the intelligence I'm going to show you. But see, it created the product. Okay. So now notice I've got a product. We do not need to be futzing around with even typing. I'll be able to say, make me 10 products about dog training. Make a product about this. I mean, it's not that I will be able to. I'm already able to. I'm just improving and updating the interface, right? So let me show you. This is the last version as of last night. I am abandoning this, believe it or not, in favor of version 3. This is version 2. I don't like this. After having used this, there's some things about this that I love and some things about this that I really hate. One of the things I loved about it is it proved some things, like the intelligence of creating a full product. But one of the things I hate about it in favor of what I'm talking about is I needed to rethink how we're going to do things 2 days or 5 days from now. And what I think is this has too much control interference, too much stuff. We need it to be more just talk to Jarvis and let him do or her do its thing. Okay, but watch this. Create a product priced at $198 about making content in Kadence theme instead of Divi or Elementor. Now, what this does is full research. So number one is this is V2 of Minilaunch AI. It transcribes, it takes the information, and if I click go, it not only saves what I just did, but it will research and create with full images and everything, a full product. This is something that has taken me a little bit of effort to figure out with helper functions and interface and how it works and stuff. One of the other things that I think is going to happen is we're going to have this doing it like in real time. So instead of us doing it and watching the screen, you're just going to tell the AI and it's going to say, no problem, I'll get back to you, man, as soon as it's done. Right now, I just have it on the screen and it sort of says processing. In about 30 seconds, typically, it does its research, it writes it, it creates the product, and it does the intelligent thing that we're going to need it to do, which is it knows that I said I wanted a product instead of a poster page. It went out and found the stuff based upon what I told it. It saved the original things. But when it's done, and again, I just have to be patient. This is real time. Okay, let's view the actual product it made. It's a product. It didn't understand K with Kadence, never does. But check it out. Made with images, it made a full product. It made the price $198. This sucker is ready to use. Ready to use. Okay. If I publish this, okay, I can add this to cart, right? Simple as that, right? There it is. Kadence theme creation mastery, $198. So, point of all of this. When I wanted to create the Nate Wasserman thing, I made a custom plugin that did essentially a one-time version of what you guys are all going to be doing with the razor blade that sits on top of the handle. And more importantly is that when we use this tool, all of the stuff that we create is on the back end. That's a really big deal. So everything that we create remains stored and saved, both in voice and transcript and otherwise, to help us teach the AI the things we want, the things we have preferences for, and how we interact with it. And it also obviously creates, in this case, it created the product or the page or the post, which we also have available to us for future reference. Okay, so back to the Divi Elementor part of things. Here's a situation where I said, well, Spence, do I want to bother making a Kadence piece of content, or do I want to just say I'm living in 2026 and 7 and 8 now and just have the AI make it? So I told the AI, just make the goddamn layout with the details of what these fellas gave me in the email. Take the products from the actual thing that the plugin I just wrote made and put them in the buttons. Okay, so let's see where I did that. Here, I said, I have a layout. I want to associate all of the links to the new products on the new website. Can you remake this code to fix the link? And all I did was give it the shop page. And it made the layout from that. Now, what it gave me is a preview agnostic to the whiteboard that it was going to go on. Here's an important concept. With Kadence under the hood, where's my whiteboard picture? With Kadence under the hood, I can have as an option a page that is nothing more than a blank slate. And I don't need to use Kadence. I can actually just allow Kadence to be the thing that I place the code on top of with all of the stuff. And that's what I did here. So I had it design it irrespective of me doing 1 second of design stuff. I grabbed the code, I copied it, and I pasted it into place. Now, to prove a point, I'm not going to go to the Nate Wasserman site. I'm going to go to this other site that I just created, and let's make a new page here with Kadence. I haven't done anything other than I think I have just Kadence on this. I'm going to make a new page, and I'll show you what I did with that HTML. I went to the page layout tools. I disabled the header and the footer, or the page title, I mean. I did full width. I unboxed it. I disabled spacing, disabled this. You can even, if you want, disable the header and the footer of the site on this page. And I said, Claude designed page content. I just simply put in, I can just put an HTML block, and I pasted in the HTML. I published. And that was it. When I look at this, ta frickin' da. Now, if you're unsure as to where we're at, we can go ahead and turn the header back on, and we can see the underlying page header if we want to have that above and below, like I do on the Nate Wasserman. This one's a bit of a mess because I'm just experimenting, but you can see the headers there. But the neat thing is, what I'm saying is, when you're migrating in 2025 or beyond, do not be so concerned about building Kadence stuff. We do not need Kadence stuff. Instead, we can just say, here's what I want. Here's the way I want it to be designed. Put it onto a blank page. And that's going to be enough to get us to where we're going, which is all of this stuff is going to be redesigned. Let me prove my point. Let me make a new chat. Hey, buddy, redesign this whole layout to make it super modern and contemporary, and change all the colors, but don't change any of the links. You can also change the layout. I give it the code. I go away, and in 30 seconds, I've got a new layout. Now, if I wanted to be prescriptive, I could tell it what I want it to do. I can give it a model page. I could say, make it look like this, make it look like that. What I'm saying is, there are those of you who are going to spend your time and days designing things. God bless you. God bless you. But I don't think that matters. Why? Because where I'm going and everyone else is going is over here. We're going to this, not to this one. We're going to this. We're going to a world where there's going to be, talk to your thing and tell it what you want to have happen. I don't think anybody's going to be designing stuff. And I'm going to prove a point because I'm going to show you something else that's probably going to blow your mind. But I just want you to see, in 30 seconds to a minute, I'll have a completely different design. I do not need to be doing this for a living. And I don't think that this is going to be something that even my professional design friends, Vince, if you're here, raise your hand. I don't think he's here, but Vince DePinto, my brother, 50 plus years, professional designer, amazing. But we, every day, I'm going to show you some of the things, every day realize, like, he's had to move upstream, where his talent is understanding the metaphors, understanding the ratios and things, but being able to turn that into words as prompts so that the actual drudgery of making things is done by the AI, which I don't want anybody to lose sight of in this. While that's working, let's see if, I think it was 8 open, 8 typical. Let me see, Devin, if I can get in, great. Otherwise, so Devin, all right. So Devin and I were working on his site, and I hope I'm not revealing anything. He has Elementor as the plugin. So you'll notice there's some really nice stuff that's still in place that's Elementor, right? This is built with the custom theme on top of 2025. But what I want you to see is, let's go to the checkout page. Checkout page is 100% not. This, well, no, we need checkout LF. I remember we had a special custom checkout page. Here's checkout LF. This is 100% not. This is launch flows, Kadence blocks, and the whole point of it was he had this very special situation where the product he's selling has multiple attendees that he wants to be able to send to the checkout, right? So what we ended up doing with Elementor, which was, again, easier, is Elementor gives you the tools to tell it where and if you want it to be seen. Primarily the header, the footer, the sidebar, and if you want, optionally, the content. So with Devin, what we ended up doing is we made his one product. We set it up properly. He's still using, believe it or not, I think Elementor for this at the moment. But the important part is if he wanted to sell 4 or 3 tickets and book ticket with launch flows and what we did, this now takes him from Elementor world to Kadence world. He could, if he wants, edit this page further and display the original Elementor header while he's in between worlds. Or he could even put, if he wanted, a proxy at the top of this, which I'm not going to break what we have here, but just to show you, if I put something at the top, he could just as easily have put in a header. There's advanced headers with Kadence that let you put things in place, right? I'm not saying you're going to do it, but I could just put in like, ta-da, and be done with it. That's one way of doing it. Another thing is, you'll notice on the page itself, if I go to the page layout, you could work it out that Elementor is not forcing itself into here and you have it shown, right? So you could switch over to Kadence. At the time that we did this, we're just sticking with him tippy-toeing in. But you'll notice that we've got this merger of worlds, which is really the main point. I'm not going to save this. He's got Elementor running as a plugin here, but the appearance themes is Kadence. So if he were to change some of his templates, like here in Elementor, I'm quite sure that one of his templates, he's even got this other thing called elements. So templates, if he goes to the actual templates in Elementor, I'm sure one of them is what's forcing the header, right? There it is. So header on number 2, published, and it's probably just set up to go site-wide, right? If he were to turn that off, he could selectively use, Devin, I'm not trying to speak about you in third person, but here, this is, he's got lots of headers. If he was to turn that off, he could have Elementor just doing the stuff between the header and footer and have Kadence take over. So the takeaway on that, going back to my notes, is once you decide on a plan, you can set up header, footer first in Kadence and make the jump, because Sharon is perceptive. So I'm going to go back to that. You're probably right, because you're probably right, actually, Sharon, because that's why it's not showing any header at all. Is the front page is probably one page and he's got no page, but something is on that checkout page, something is preventing Kadence from showing up. So I think there's something still at work. Well, we're going to go back to that, but let me just make this note, because you can use the Elementor or Divi content with Kadence header pretty easily. Okay, let's just take a quick jump back and see. You're saying that this would be, it says draft. How do you know? Oh, because it doesn't say instances, right? Interesting. Let's take a look over here under appearance customize and see whether or not you guys are great. Listen, this is like, I love these kinds of interactive office hours. So Sharon, who is an expert on Elementor from the good old days, says, yes, when using Elementor, you want Kadence to provide the header and footer. So here, again, I think he's just got this one particular page. I wish I could get to the actual checkout page, but let's just see. In the preview mode, I think you've got these things in line. So I'm guessing that's what's happening. We do have Kadence possibly as a header, but I just do not know, without futzing around in here, why it's not showing up, for example, on those other pages. I'm not going to worry about it too much, because the takeaway is still the same, which is the sooner you get to Kadence for the header and footer, the better this is going to be. And then you could continue to use Elementor for the content to the pages if you need to. But going to the AI thing I just said, we're going to try now to take the content and move it over using the help of AI, right? We're in 2 different experiments. Let's just see here. If I go to the page, I honestly don't know what's going on, why it's not showing. Because it's not disabled, but you got on default. So I don't know what the answer is as to why it's not showing with Kadence, but I know that it normally could. I have a feeling there's another element, Sharon, that is causing the default page layout. That's what I think is happening. So I'm not going to worry about that too much, but like, let's just take as a rule here. When you're using Elementor, there is an option for creating conditional display of elements, which again, he has here, right? Through the templates. Okay. And I suspect there is probably something that is forcing the header to be suppressed. That's my guess. We will find out in another office hours, but the takeaway is the same. Let's go back to our Claude. It made this new layout. Let's just, for shits and giggles, copy this HTML. And let's go back to, I think, where was I? I think I was here. No, I was here. I'm going to replace the green Claude design stuff with this stuff. I'm going to save it. Let's take a look at our new design. I'm going to turn on that stage comments thing because now is a good time. So you guys can see all the notes here. You guys have a good combo going. It's warming up. Okay, so now notice maybe it's not the absolute ultimate design or whatever, but the point still is, I'm just going to go through these so you can see them. I don't know why they're not showing up in the new element. That's weird. I guess that's why it's in beta. I'll come back to this comment in a second. With having AI redesign this is not what I would really call the best design in the world, but you'll notice it did the job. Okay. It took us from this to kind of crazy, kind of weird, but this, I would probably give it more specific instructions. Let's do something else though. Let's say we wanted to take the rest of the content from something that was an Elementor, right? So let's go over to Devin's site and go to Atypical. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. If I wanted his page to look absolutely pixel perfect the same, I can use a tool called Single File to download this. And this is either an extension that you can use that I may or may not still have on this system. I do not. Oh, there it is, Single File. It's an extension, or you can just use it as an add-on. What it does is it takes the HTML of any page and it self-encapsulates it. And for the most part, not always, gives you an exact copy of it. So if I click Single File, it's going through this whole page, making an HTML file. It's downloading to my local computer. Okay. It's 3.8 megabytes. It's a shit ton of stuff. I do not recommend this for all cases, but I just want to show you something about what's possible. If you're in a pinch and your client's like, man, I need you to just keep it exactly the same for 2 more days. Okay, whatever. Let's wait for this to download. Okay, it's done. Let's go to where that's located. Open the file. Let's get the HTML. You can't see what I'm opening here, but I'm opening up this in the browser window. Not bad. Okay, now I am going to do what you can't see me doing. I'm going to open up this file with I'm going to use Sublime Text. so that I can get the content of this file, which is just a gigantic file. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to close a couple things, including Devin's site, so I don't accidentally screw up his site. I'm going to go here where I had my Claude Design page content. I'm going to highlight that and paste that monster that I just created in here. It's too big for normal things. I just want to prove a point. Okay. It's huge. Nobody should have a 3 megabyte homepage. Okay. But let's see what happens. Full width, unboxed, using the whiteboard. And I just got to get the stuff pixel perfect. Missing a few things. Something went wrong. Let's see what happened here. Not sure why that was so bad. Usually it works a little better. I'm going to have to assume it was unhappy with something, that the differences between having and not having the actual underlying elements. So what I'm going to do, which I would normally never do, is I'm going to go and, since Devin is conducive to this, I'm going to borrow, sorry, Devin, but I promise I will undo this. I'm going to make a blank page on Devin's site where he's got Elementor under the hood, because I have a feeling it's making calls to a bunch of plugins and things that Kadence just does not understand. This is not being done with Elementor. This is now just getting rid of what we don't need to use anymore. We're just trying to like migrate a page to save it long enough until we can do something else with it. If I made a new page, and I'm going to use Kadence underneath to set this up. Disable, full width. I'm going to disable the header, disable the footer, unbox, disable. Let's see. Sample paste page. I'm going to put HTML block in, paste that giant block again. Let's see what we get. I'm always interested to see these live experiments without a net. Let's see what the page looks like. Better, still whacked out and broken. So the only thing I can say is this was a failed experiment. I'm going to go to plan B, just because I don't like to give up. We have, I'm going to close my other site so I don't get confused. This is atypical. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the front page again. And again, Devin, I appreciate your being very generous with your site as a guinea pig. Let's see what happens if I do this. I'm going to see where it says single file. Oh, you can't see the overlay, but there's an overlay that I'm using instead of whatever. I'm saying save file with single file. I'm going to see whether or not this gives a different outcome. Yes. Lloyd, you know me well. You know where I'm going with this. I just need to like play this out, right? Because it's interesting to me. I get different results with different tools, right? So let's do open with Sublime. I wish you guys could see what I'm doing, but I'm just opening this file. It looks like the exact same file. So I think I'm going to get the same results. If I edit this page. And I suspect the reason, oh, I do not want to edit that now. I suspect the reason that I'm getting these results is that it's not happy with the stuff that's very, very JavaScript dependent on Elementor being moved around. Most sites, that's why Elementor is such a pig. It uses so much scripting, so heavy scripting, so much stuff that when you try to move it around and you orphan some stuff, you can kind of see it's breaking hard. I have a bunch of drafts here and I don't know which draft is which. So I'm just going to make a new page. Sorry, Devin, I apologize. Hopefully you can just close all these drafts on me. Sample paste page. I'm going to do the same thing, HTML, paste it in. Thank you, sir. Okay. And I'm still going to go with this. I'm going to try to disable the header and footer. I don't know if I did that before. That may be bad. Who knows? But let's just see what happens. Because my next step is to go back to the Claude, get some help. No, not going to happen. Okay. So let's leave this page open so I have a place to paste it. Let's go to Claude, and we're going to say, hey, Claude. Hey, Claude. Can you get the home page here and give it back? Oh, thank you. He's got a backup. Give back to me in either HTML format to look very similar, or better in Kadence blocks Gutenberg Markdown, including colors and image references, etc. Now, what I'm trying to do is just short and sweet. All I'm saying is, hey, there's a page. Can you go get me that in a different format? And it will fetch it, try to recreate it. It is not going to do a good job. I guarantee you it's not going to do a good job. I can give you the full markup here. So it's saying it's not happy because for some reason it's not getting the whole thing, which is okay. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to use the right click, get code, right? I'm going to right click on this page and say view page source. And I'm going to say this, Control A C, copy it. And I'm going to give it this thing, which is, I'm saying, hold on, Tiger. I'm hitting the stop button. Sometimes I can get it to stop. And I'm saying, here's the full markup. I copied essentially the source code of the page just to give it to it. It's probably going to choke on it and tell me like, hey man, that's too much. You've exceeded your limits. That's what Claude tends to do because Claude is very stingy. It's very good at coding, but it's very stingy versus ChatGPT. I may have to go to ChatGPT. So if I try to give it like a big block of stuff, sometimes it just says not going to happen, which is one of the reasons using the tools on the desktop is better. I already find this annoying. So what I'm going to do is, because Claude is wonderful, but just having a bad moment, I'm going to exit the page and I'm going to give the same instructions to ChatGPT. Or Kadence friendly blocks Gutenberg Markdown. Can you give me back ready to copy and paste? I'm going to just give it the URL. Let's see if ChatGPT does better. This is with 4.0. It's not even the latest model. It tends to be a little brisker. Whether this is going to work or not. By the way, I want it to look exactly the same or as close as you can. Oh, he has a 503 error. That's interesting. So here is the full markup. I'm going to do the same thing. I don't think it's a 503. I think it's just the ChatGPTs are pretending that or something. You notice it's totally unhappy with that. So if that happens, what I will sometimes do is I will just make a Sublime Text file or whatever. I'll say save as a text file. Save. Save page. I'll just make a quick Google Doc. I don't know. It's very odd when you have context and stuff. Like things just choke, which is one of the reasons that I like using the desktop tools. Even that, I gotta say, new document, I gotta paste with Control V so that it doesn't do the formatting. And I'm going to do save as or download as a plain text file. Okay, let's just feed it that and see if it's happier there. Sometimes it will take a file where it won't take otherwise. I don't know why it matters to it, but it does. And I don't really know that this is going to succeed, but I just needed to feed it the sort of thing to see whether it can give me something back. Doesn't include the visible body. Okay, I'm going to try. Here's another tool that I use called Gyazo. Now, I don't know what's happening with Devin's site here. I think it's fine. I think it's just being fussy. Gyazo is a screen capture tool. So I use this to get the whole page. Now, this is going to be really hard for it to work with because it has no original images, but at least I'll have the image that I can give to it, right? So I can copy the image address and I'll say, here. Make me an exact copy of this as close as you can in Kadence or Gutenberg or even HTML. Let's see what it does. Now, all of this is a fool's errand to a certain extent because I want to talk philosophy with clients. Do your clients or you absolutely need to retain that picture of you from high school wearing bell-bottom jeans or a flare shirt or something? Or can you just upgrade your look? What am I talking about? I'm talking about, for example, when I go into Canva and I'm making my thumbnails for the show, look, this is a picture of me from a trip a week ago. Okay. That's pretty close to what I look like now. All right. If I look at my assets of things I've uploaded in here somewhere, projects, let's go back a menu. If I were to look in a project and I look at the menu of stuff that I've uploaded, there's lots of pictures of Spence that don't look like that because I've been uploading stuff in here for some time. This is a picture of me when I was on Welcome Back, Kotter, by the way. But in all seriousness, so if I scroll all the way back, there's me from 3 years ago in San Diego. I've got pictures of me, you know, there's Jamie Marsland, you know, this is me 5 years ago. I've got this like legacy of stuff. My point is there's lots of versions of Spence floating around the internet, some of which are, this is me from, well, actually, I'm pretty proud of this one. This is me from like 10 years ago, but I haven't completely fallen apart. But the point I'm saying is there's old versions of me and new versions of me. One of the things you have to ask yourself when you're dealing with clients is like, do they really need in 2025 to maintain all of your weird parallax stuff and all the color coding? Because most of my clients are now asking me to just get the stuff done that works better because people are using agentic tools. People are using different devices to connect. Nobody is sitting around and browsing. And one of the things I wanted to show you, which is one of the other bag of tricks, now that I got my new super tool here, I've got my new computer that's faster than all get out. I'm in turbo mode, kids. I think I am in turbo mode. Let's see. Function. I'm going into turbo mode, kids. I'm in turbo. So one of the things we got here is flow. This is the new Google tool that allows you to dynamically create content with just words. This can be used for motion, but it can also be used for other tools like images. What I'm saying is, going back to my friend Vince, we've got a client together. It's his client, but I work with him on this, italianbeef.com. Vince, being extremely talented, took these folks from the world of Elementor and Divi, and we moved them up into the Kadence and all this stuff. And all of this is being done with the minute launch system and so forth. But we needed to make content for marketing. Now we've got a tool that, back to my point, talkity talk makes the content, such as this. Different version of it. Let's look at some other ones I did. Like, I have a client with some furniture. Hello. Here's I did one for Mother Earth Labs, a client, that has these are healthcare products and supplements. Okay. You see a theme going through all of these. The point is, these are done with a simple prompt, a text-based prompt. So I went to my Claude in anticipation of building a razor blade and in anticipation of moving clients from old ways of doing things to new ways of doing things. We're going to be having websites that are not going to be static. They're not going to be browsed by people. They're going to be dynamically created and fed to people's agents, peer-to-peer. Your agentic friend is going to contact mine and get the latest stuff from me that you want from me. So what I did is I built a tool here called Flow Prompts. And I'm going to show you how we do one of these live. I've got, good morning, Karina. Que bueno. Buenos dias. I have all of these different metadata things set up, and we can make a new one. Let's make a new one that is a race car coming up on a race track and assembling all the parts the same way, and make it have a zoom sound. Now, what this is going to do is I have the recipe for how Flow as a tool makes dynamic video. I have a tool created here in this project that takes that recipe and allows me to just talk to it and replace the elements and what the effects are. Ultimately, this will talk directly through a razor blade to Flow and will allow the website that has it running on it to dynamically create anything on the fly to display or to share to somebody else. So we take this, go to Flow, we paste it in here, and I'm going to use the high quality because you deserve it. It is going to, in 30 seconds to a minute, generate 2 videos. Now, this is very slow. This is not ready for prime time like everybody's going to do this because it's slow, it's expensive, it makes 8-second clips. But like 5 minutes from now, this is going to be like, like like everything else in life. So imagine if we go back to where I started you with this. We've got the modern interface with everybody having an agentic partner and a box that you own stuff. You as the site owner will be able to tell your agentic partner, make more stuff, create more stuff, do a marketing campaign. You're not going to type. You're not going to be doing any of this stuff with Elementor and Divi. You're not going to be doing this stuff with Kadence. It's going to have a framework like a whiteboard under the hood, that razor blade handle onto which we can snap any of the things we want so that your clients, your customers, your mailing list, or even you can access it and dynamically create crazy cool stuff on the fly. Like, for example, as I'm going to show you this. Now, we've got 2 little agents going. This I don't know why it created an image. I didn't want it to create an image. I wanted it to make a page. I wanted you to actually make that page as a whole, not just a simple word image. This may or may not be able to achieve the idea of copying and cloning that page that Devin has. It just may not be able to do it because it's a very complex page with tons of JavaScript. But the point I'm saying is we may not need that, because if you took the content of the page, the essence of what it is, in 2026 and beyond, there, even 2025, there's better ways of getting that stuff to people. Because what is the purpose? Devin has a consulting business, right? He trains people in doing Scrum. The way he's going to do that is very different than if 5 years ago. And in 2 years from now, it's going to be very different from today. So he understands this. We talked about it. You guys understand that. I want you guys to think when we're looking at the takeaway here, okay? Why are you even moving this stuff? When I think of the Kaminometer thing, these guys have a charity event. The only thing that matters was getting the information quickly and making it easy for somebody to buy a foursome for $1,000. It was faster for me to just instantly create the products, as I showed you, instantly create the sales page and put it together live than to fart around with what they kept giving me, which was this endless amount of PayPal links and snippets and Google Docs and stuff. I said, listen, you guys are killing me here. I'm spending an hour on something that should take 2 minutes. I don't care that this was designed by an AI. I don't care that I went into Canva, like I've shown you before, and instantly made a website, okay? I can literally go here in Canva and go, screw all this, and make a brand new website and say, my website. And then I just say, share, and I either host it here or I can embed it, which is what I've shown you before, right? So I can do embed. Get the embed code, right? It's live. I can even do the site. But the point is I copy this and I go back over here, do my new page. And this is not Kadence, but the point is still the same. I do HTML. My embed. I don't have the capability on this because it's the crazy theme, but you get the idea. When I publish it, I'm still going to see the embedded website, right? Ta-da. If I had set it up properly, it would be the full width. I do not care. Nobody should care about being so precious about all the old stuff that we used to care about with design, because it makes no difference. Let's look at our new videos that I just made. My brain is exploding. It said zoom, zoom. You couldn't hear it. It said zoom, zoom. And it made the thing. Okay. I don't know if this is impressive to you, but what I'm saying is I've been doing this my last 19 years. This is freaking me out, because this kind of stuff, to take these videos, for example, and I can either host them or embed them and, you know, use it in the Media Hub library. But if I take this stuff and it's created dynamically on the fly, and then I can just put that dynamically into my website, right? If I do the same thing here, and again, it's not a Kadence site, but if I said add before, I would say video embed. I have to actually upload it in the media library, which you should never do, but I'm doing it here because this is just a temporary site. I'm able to, in a matter of seconds, demonstrate for you how I created essentially this ridiculous live content. Okay. Imagine that's created on the fly by your AI agent and delivered to somebody. Okay. All right. Let's wrap it up. Takeaways from today, hopefully. Number one, the tools that I'm dealing with, that you're dealing with, are blowing my mind, and the way that we do things with them, blowing my mind. My plan for all of us is version 3, which I showed you a quick tip, hint of this Minute Launch AI, is something that I'm moving even faster now than I thought towards just an interface that you talk to it, it stores and saves all the stuff, and it intelligently knows what to do with it, including all of the underlying tools. That razor blade model will allow me, for you, to help you get where you're going, because all of the things that we used to have to tweak the knobs on, or I don't have to spend an hour with you anymore. I'll be able to have a razor blade that will essentially deliver what you need and or deliver to your clients. Part of that is the secure peer-to-peer between, for example, Karina deals with a wonderful business that has tens of thousands of people taking training and live events. Imagine a razor blade that snaps on, that's all that training, all that content, live interaction, chat, all the stuff that right now we have to rely upon the heavy duty existing WordPress plugins. Imagine if those evolved into essentially like an interface similar to the iPhone or Android app store, but it all ran natively, and each individual can keep track of their progress and what they're doing and share that dynamically and selectively. Combine that with what I shared with you a moment ago about creating content anywhere from any tool and embedding it on a whiteboard, including live motion video based upon chat, not on moving knobs and turning dials and everything else. And the reason all this is relevant is that we are racing at full throttle towards an outcome that none of us know is going to be, it's either going to be amazing or the end of humanity. Because I've already read this week, Grok is now being installed into some of Elon Musk's mobile robots. We've got Boston Dynamics, there's drones. The same technologies that can deliver us this amazing, like humans can finally do what we saw as cartoons as a kid, like the Jetsons, and have like a robot that helps us live our lives better. We can have that world, or we can have that we're all basically enslaved by a race of overlords that has robots controlling all of us. I mean that literally. So I'm gunning in favor of humanity. I'm here for you guys as a practical matter between now and then. For our clients, for ourselves, your clients are going to clamor, run, race with their cash in hand for you to deliver these kinds of cool things. I am going to give you the razor blade handle and the razor blades, and you can, with me, get me to participate to your audience to sell the razor blades for your particular business. I've already spoken to many of you guys about that, but the idea is I am shifting this entirely into this avenue. There's no other concept to me. We get rid of all of the old tools that aren't necessary, the page builders included. We get rid of many of the intermediary plugins. We focus on the stack of plugins that are key, and then we build an interface that turns this whole thing into basically your private box, their private box, talk to each other, obviously still displaying stuff on a website, sure, but the real meat and potatoes is going to happen when the two things talk to each other. When their interface talks to your website, it's going to be a completely different thing than them clackety-clacking around. And I can give you another 100 examples. I don't need to, but everything from the doctors are now using Perplexity and these tools to like help with their daily. There's wearable devices like John shared with me yesterday that, what was that called? The Puma device or Pulta? I don't know. I have it shared away, but there's a device that you can wear. It records all your conversations and sends it into your AI tool. I know I'm using a tool right now. I'm testing. They asked me to beta test it called Ash, which is like a personal cognitive behavioral therapist. It's amazing. And we could do all of this. We could do all of this on the Minute Launch system, because anything we need to build, I can build really instantly. I just need to get us to that, like, what's the razor blade handle going to look like and act like? Plod. Let's see if that, I want to show you this. This is clever. It's a wearable note pin. Let me add that to the stage. So this thing, I've seen a couple of these. This is something you just wear, and it just takes notes all day long and stores it presumably to your device. But what John and I talked about was, how about if instead of it being on Plod, it was something like you had your iPhone or hearing aids, whatever, do the same thing and records it to your own private box. or even if it's on Plod sends it to your box. The idea is that everybody should have a central, and will have, I think, a central place where all of their personal stuff is stored. Again, either going to be the best thing that ever happened to us or the end of all of us. I can't worry about that because I can't control that part of it. I can control this part of it and help you guys get there. So, takeaway for today, Minute Launch AI. One last thing I'm going to share. Minute Launch AI, the business model is really simple. What we're going for is $25 a month for the handle, $250 a year, white label capable. Any of you who want, I'm willing to an audience of, I mean, if you have 5 people, don't bother me. But if you have like at least a few hundred people, I'm willing to do an hour presentation directly to your audience to convince them to buy the handle. It's a hosted site with the interface that I've been sharing with you here today, this version here, which this one is not going to make the cut, I can tell you, because I'm already unhappy with several things of it, but it's proving out the points. The $25 a month, $250 a year gets them the handle and the basic functionality, recording, storage, some fun stuff, benefits they'll see. But what the real goal is to sell them your razor blade, which is your business on top of it. Everything from your training to your coaching to your interaction to your custom stuff. And because they'll have that handle and they'll buy your razor blade, they will be permanently your customer, my customer, because we know how this works. Like people get a health club membership, they never leave. People put their stuff in Dropbox or iCloud, they never take it out. The idea is that we can create everything that we want in a way that allows for these interactions I just shared for you to happen while moving away from all the old tools that are front-facing or interactive, keeping some of the tools on the back end that still make it easy to do things. The next step up from this is the $97 a month or the a la carte. So John asked me today, what's the difference between 25 and 97? Let's say you have a client that comes on in and they go 25 and they go, I want to sell stuff. I want to make marketing campaigns. I want to have a list. Cool. They just jump up to the full 97. You get a $20 a month commission on that. I'm happy. They're happy. Everybody's happy. There will also be a la carte in the middle stuff. Remember my original origin story with the evil genius at Lab Secrets was this was 18 years ago, I believe. I spent all this time making these one-off tchotchkes for Ning and then Social Go, all of which are here in this. What is wrong with Vimeo that it only organizes new to old? I have no idea, but Vimeo is like horrifically broken. Look at the young me with the goatee back in, God knows, that looks like probably 2009 or some crazy. There I am as a primate. All of these individual tchotchkes proved to me back in the day that if you have an audience of people who have the razor blade handle, they will buy infinite razor blades from you, one time and subscription. And that's what we did here. These are the Social Go ones. And if I keep clicking, I'll eventually get to where it all started, which was the video browser, which literally was the start of this whole thing that I'm amazed by 20 years later almost has turned into what it is. And I see it all coming back again. Here it is. The final one. What is wrong with you, Vimeo? Video browser from 17 years ago. I love this because it just keeps reminding me how the world is a funny place. I don't know how it is that I got here. I don't know why I'm here, but I do know that I'm here and I love this. I love you guys. I love what I'm doing. This has never made me more excited than anything I do. I mean, my friends, family, my kids, but like, this is it. This is the thing. And I want to just say thanks to you guys who show up every Friday. Great questions. Those of you who are my paid customers, please join me for yourself and your clients in taking me up on this offer of let's get your audience exposed to this. I want to sell them the handles. I want to sell your razor blades. We have a win-win there. That saves you all the development costs. And it gives me the opportunity really to get something in the hands of a larger audience, which is where obviously this is all going. Have a great weekend. I hope you're enjoying your summer. I'm going to do the same.